What up, sis? Meet our sister, Crystal. You're about to learn how to manifest your life in entrepreneurship, in motherhood, and just life itself. Crystal's story is inspiring. Girl, we got this.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this beautiful connection. Thank you for this present moment in time that Laticia and I get to share and to connect. And thank you for these other beautiful souls who are another layer of a beautiful contribution to what we are sharing with the world. I ask that our spirit guides, our angels, divine, our ancestors come into this space because they're already here. The energy is high, but I just want to make sure they come and they protect this space. Any dark energies, any dark entities, anything that does not belong here, we ask you to leave now, belovedly. I ask that our angels, our spirit guides, the divine, our ancestors come in and fill this space with the highest vibration of love and divine light. And that what needs to be heard and said and shared today will happen, as always, in perfect timing. Ashe, and so it is.
Amen. Thank you. How are you feeling today, sis? I have a beautiful guest, as you can see with us. Beautiful inside and out, spiritual inside and out, genius inside and out. Crystal Streets, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, my love. Thank you for that beautiful reflection. And she is just a reflection of me. So what she's saying about me is actually what she's saying about herself.
I appreciate you.
Yes, yes.
Woo! So I can already tell you how this podcast is going to go because it's going to be a beautiful one for you to experience.
It is.
She is so much of a woman. Okay, she's a fine jeweler. She's a healer. And to encompass all of that, she's an alchemist. She turns pain into gold. She turns pressure into diamonds.
Yes.
Crystal Streets, I cannot wait to share your story.
Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful, beautiful introduction. Yes. Gold is my choice of metal. And I like to say, one of our good friends, Milana, she always says, Crystal, everything you touch turns to gold. And I think with that being said, I call myself an energetic alchemist because you are right. I take these, I don't know if you've ever seen a diamond in its rough state, but it's not pretty. And just like us, in our roughest, darkest shadow, we're not pretty. But the moment that we accept all those parts of ourselves, the dark, the ugly, the shameful, the beautiful, the light.
Yes.
That's when we transmute the dark to light.
Yes.
So as a healer, I help bring people and clients back to themselves to remember, but they have to go into the deep, dark shadows first.
Yes.
And not too many people, that's not for the faint of heart.
Yes.
Not a lot of people want to go into the dark, deep shadows because it's scary.
It's not easy.
No, it's not easy. And, you know, we all, I don't know if your audience knows what the shadow work is, what that is, but your shadow is the most embarrassing parts of yourself, the parts that you're most shameful about, the parts that you would never, ever share with anyone. But I say the shadow is where the gold is. It's where the magic is, because in that shadow that you're so shameful of, or you don't feel worthy or good enough, whatever your story is.
Yes.
9 times out of 10, that's where the purpose is. That's where the purpose lies.
100%.
So if you can go deep down, dark, and face those demons, face that shadow, on the other side of that is this beautiful alchemy, this beautiful gold, this beautiful polishing. If you know the process of a diamond, it's this rough diamond, and then it goes through all these phases of polishing and cutting and cutting, and then, you know, you have to grade it. And then at the last process is the polishing.
Yes.
So when you're being polished, it's like the divine coming and just spreading the grace and beauty because of all the hard work, the journey.
Yes.
So it's the last stop. And then you present yourself to the world as this beautiful, multifaceted diamond that has so many facets and prisms and light.
Yes.
Right?
That shines endlessly, eternally.
And a diamond, you cannot break a diamond. No.
You cannot break a diamond. You know what that says? You can't break a diamond.
No, unbreakable.
I think it's so beautiful how your life is that, what you just explained. What you've created as a woman is exactly that. And I want to talk about this specifically because I think this is a really interesting way to discover who you are. Mm-hmm. That's what we want to know on this podcast.
Yeah.
You inspire us, and you often say, I've lived many lives.
Mm-hmm. And
I've died many times.
I've died many times.
I've died many times.
Yes.
So I want to talk about your lives that you have lived.
Yeah.
What was life one like?
Okay.
Crystal Streets, where are you from?
Yes. So I'm from Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. I left home when I was 17 or 18. Mm-hmm. I went to school in Atlanta. I went to Clark Atlanta University. Okay. I was on a mission. By the time I was like a sophomore in college, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And then...
How did you know at a sophomore? Because we change
our
majors all the time.
I just knew. I knew that I wanted to be in fashion, but at that time, there weren't very many stylists. It was like a handful. So I didn't really know how to get there.
Right.
But then I was in my major was film and TV production, and it was in a one of my professors introduced me to this book. It was called like Les Book of like, it was a directory of everybody that worked behind the scenes on a production, from casting to lighting to whatever. And I saw a costume designer and I was like, well, what is that? And he was like, oh yeah, they dress. And then I saw a wardrobe stylist and I was like, well, what is that?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what I want to do. And so I took the book home and I called every single costume designer and wardrobe stylist in that book.
Wow.
Until somebody answered me. Like, I stalked them. And the person that answered me lived in New York. Her name was Deborah Ginyard. And she says, I live in New York, but I have a close friend of mine who's a stylist. He's coming to Atlanta to shoot Monica, The Boy Is Mine album cover.
Oh, shoot, the one with Brandy?
Yes.
Yes.
He was like, I can get you an internship. So I meet him, he comes down, his name is Derek Kahn, and I go on set. And the moment that I walked foot on this set, I was like, oh, this is it. I felt it in my bones. I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Wow.
Yeah. And from there, and he had me doing like grunt work. Like, wardrobe styling is not pretty. It's a lot of schlepping and
back and forth.
Yes. And hanging up and returning and all the lifting and all of that. And you know what? I knew that I loved it. I knew that it was my passion because I didn't give a damn.
Yeah.
I didn't give a F.
You didn't want to stop.
No, I didn't care.
Yes.
It was like, what else you got?
Yep. Next.
Yeah. And so from there, I began to assist him, and I moved to New York. I graduated on Wednesday. I moved to New York on a Friday. I had I had an internship at Essence Magazine. I bonded with the fashion director, and she gave me she was taking styling jobs on the side, but she couldn't do them, so she would give them to me.
Wow.
And I built my showroom portfolio. I started to get my feet wet.
So this is right out of college?
Right out of college.
Okay, but hold on. I want to rewind because I know the audience listens like, how? How did she come straight out of college with this motivation, with this mindset? Where did that come from? Because a lot of women that are in college, we come out of college and we're like, you don't know where to start. It's like, why did I go to school? Like, you don't know where to go.
Yeah.
Especially in the world nowadays.
Yeah.
How did you have that courage and that bravery to be like, let me take this book and call every person? Where did that determination come from?
You know what? I have to give credit to my mother. My childhood wasn't the easiest, right? I was abandoned. My father abandoned me. I had a stepfather, but my biological abandoned me when I was 11. And I experienced a lot of abuse. But my mother was a boss and an entrepreneur.
So you saw that.
You know, they say between the ages of 0 and 7, that's when we are shaped. That's when our beliefs are shaped. That's where everything is shaped. So those years are so formative and important. So during those years, I watched my mother own multiple businesses, had real estate portfolio, had stocks. Like, she was a boss. She was an entrepreneur before her time. My mom is 75 years old. So back then, women, especially women of color, were not doing that. And so she modeled to me, you can be independent, you can do whatever you want. And she fostered my childhood, although it had its, darker parts. She just supported my creativity. Like, whatever I said I wanted to do, she allowed me to do it. If I said I wanted to do gymnastics, if I said I wanted to go paint, if I said I wanted to go play the piano, even if I sucked at it, she just allowed me to do it. And so I was fearless from the jump. And so I think that ambition, it definitely came from her. But I've always just been fearless. I've never been afraid of anything or anyone.
That's beautiful.
Like, I'm not afraid. Yeah, thank you. I received that. And so because of that, I did not see any barriers. I was like, nothing can get in my way.
Wow.
And so, and I think even back then, we want to talk about manifestation. I was manifesting back then because I was already visualizing myself in New York, styling. I was already like, ahead.
You knew what you wanted to do.
And
it became. So now you're fashion directing. You're in New York. Out of college.
And I get my first big client. It's Jay-Z.
Oh, wow.
My first big client is Jay-Z.
Okay, Jay-Z.
Yes. And he became my big brother, my mentor. I didn't even know how to create an invoice.
Wow.
I didn't know the business side of styling. Like, I just was like, I want to do this, but I didn't know. So my first job with him was, he was doing the MTV Awards, and he was like, I need this. He was like, if you do this, then we're good. You're in. He's like, I need this exclusive Michael Jordan retired jersey. I want to wear it in my performance. And y'all, this jersey was like, it did not exist. And so somehow your girl got through to Michael Jordan's team, and he gave me the jersey signed.
Wow.
And I showed up like, what?
What you want to say, Jake?
Yes. I showed up at the last hour too. Like,
wow.
Yeah. He was like, oh, okay.
He saw you.
Yeah. He taught me a lot of things. I remember my first lesson of like why I'm so punctual now. One day we were on set and it was raining. It was raining, and it was like a GQ or some sort of magazine shoot and editorial shoot, and it was raining, the weather, New York, the weather is bad, but when you're a stylist, like, you're like schlepping and
through it all.
Yes.
You don't have a choice.
And I did not get there before him. So by the time I got on set, as soon as I walked on set, he was like, yeah, you can go home. I'm good. He was like, don't you ever show up after me. I came here on time. That's the least you could do. And that was my lesson on tardiness and punctuality. And from then on, I was never, ever, ever late again.
Wow.
And I'm a stickler about time and being punctual.
Yes.
And so he taught me so many lessons, but he also opened my career, because once I started styling him, everybody jumped on the bandwagon. And
Jay-Z was that guy. He is
was
still that guy.
Yeah. And then I went on to style everyone from Nas to Sierra to Usher to
Rihanna.
Yes, Rihanna. I have kind of touched I've touched a lot of people. I've done a lot. I've did world tours. I spent 10 years of my life in styling, doing world tours, doing movies, commercials, red carpets, videos. And this was all of my 20s. So I was able to just go and be free and travel and explore and just live life and make mistakes. But I was making a lot of fucking money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was making a lot of money, but I was making good decisions with my money. Like I bought my first home at 25. I bought my second home by 29. I was investing in stocks and all of this. So I was very kind of before my time, but I hit a wall. And it was when I got pregnant with my daughter, Lyra. I was just like, yeah, I hit a plateau. Not a wall, I hit a plateau. And I was like, I'm done here.
How old were you when you got pregnant with Lyra?
29.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm done.
Wow.
I'm
you know
done
what's
here.
so interesting? I always feel like for women, 29, 30,
Yeah.
there's always a
return.
shift.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a
Is that
shift in
Saturn
us
return?
women.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
I think that's Saturn return.
29 to 30.
That's your Saturn return.
There's a shift in a woman.
Yes.
Always. So this was your shift.
This was my Saturn return, and Saturn return where Saturn comes back and gives you a life review and say, are you on the right path? Is this what you really want to be doing? What are you doing with your life?
I had that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
What are you doing? And I sat there and I was like, what am I doing? And I realized that I loved styling, but I didn't love the industry because it was like vampires. It just did not, like the politics of the industry, the darkness of the industry.
The energy of the industry.
My soul did not resonate with it. Like my clients would invite me out after, and I had this rule. I was like, I don't party with my clients.
Right.
Because when I left them, I was like, I've been with you all day. I don't want to look at your face anymore. Like, I want to go home. I want to go have
my
some
job
me
is
time.
done.
Yeah, and I would go home and recharge and restore, and they didn't understand that. So I lost a lot of, like, especially female clients, because they want you to be their everything, their best friend. They want you to spend every waking moment with them, and I had really firm boundaries around my energy and my time.
Yes.
So I was just like, I lost a couple of clients because I would not socialize.
Wow.
Yeah, but I didn't care.
Because that's not what you wanted at that moment in your
No.
life.
It wasn't
you
about
were
that for
strong
me.
enough to realize that your energy doesn't belong here anymore.
Yeah, and I was just like, I can't do this. Like, and once I had my daughter, I was like, I was on a plane three times a week, and I was like, I cannot do this.
Wow.
And so I started to think like, okay, so how can I build my brand? I don't want to be in the service business anymore. I want to be in the product business.
Right.
Because I don't want to give people my time anymore. I mean, when you own a product business, you still got to give your time, but you can kind of do it on your own terms. Nobody owned my time anymore.
Yes.
And so I was like, I started all of my clients' looks with accessories. You know how some people start with a shirt or a shoe or whatever.
Yep.
I started with accessories, and I was like, I love accessories because to me, jewelry tells a story. It's personable. Like every single piece you have on right now, you know who gave it to you, how you got it, when you got it.
Yeah, it's so true.
It's yours.
Yeah.
It molds to your body. It's like second skin. Whereas clothing was disposable. And I was like, yeah, I'm done. And so I was like, I'm going to start an accessories line. But it was the recession. It was 2008.
Wow.
Nobody was buying luxury
Yeah.
because I wanted to start in fine jewelry. And so I started in fashion and costume jewelry. And I was like, I'm going to launch this at Fashion Week. I launched under the tents. If it takes out, this is when it was the tents.
In Fashion Week,
Yes.
yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to launch. If it takes off, then I'm out of here.
Okay, so you didn't stop styling. You kept styling until you figured out that your business in jewelry would be successful.
Not really, kind of.
Okay.
So it got to the point where how you know when it's time is that you'll notice that the doors start to shut and things become very difficult. And because I wasn't passionate about it anymore, I didn't love it. Now I was doing it because I had to do it.
Yes.
I never want to do anything because I have to do it. I never want to live my life like that.
Yes.
I don't want to do anything
That you're forced to
that
do.
doesn't light me up.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, so this is how we get tested. So I'm about to launch, and then they come with the dangling carrot, and they're like, you want to do Usher's world tour? We're going to pay you all this money.
That's called the test.
That's the test, yeah.
That's a test.
So I was like, I'll just do this one last job, and then I'm out.
Yeah.
Of course, I do the job, and it's a mess.
Ooh.
Like, they're sucking my energy. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. And I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
I was like, okay.
Wow.
So I took the dangling carrot because what I'm conveying to the universe, to divine, that I don't trust that I will be provided for if I take this leap of faith. And so after I did that job, it was that, and they called me to do Jamie Foxx's press junket. And I was like, how am I gonna turn down these things? I was getting like, the legendary Patti LaBelle wants you to do her for Good Morning America.
Yes.
And I would be like, how can I turn down Miss Patti?
Yeah. Who says no?
To Miss Patti LaBelle.
I love me some Patti LaBelle.
Right? Like, who tells no to Miss Patti LaBelle?
I wouldn't say no to Patti LaBelle, but Crystal Streets might.
Yeah. And so I got to the point, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Wow.
And my agent, my best friend was my agent. But everybody, my team, everybody was like, what are you doing? Nobody understood why I was walking away from all of this money, all this amazing career, but it just did not sit well in my soul. And I had to honor that. I had to honor my soul, even though I didn't know at the time that's what I was doing.
Right.
I had to honor myself.
And do you also think that, you know, having your daughter now, what you wanted changed?
Absolutely, because I say with every one of my children, I have two, I had a rebirth. So when I had her, I was not the same person anymore.
Yes.
Like my whole identity changed.
Yes.
I went through a whole like metamorphosis. Like
Yes.
I came out when I had her, I just was like, who are you? Who are you? And so my first jewelry line was called, collection was Lyra Love Star. I named it after Lyra.
Yes.
I named them both. I birthed them at the same time. So I birthed Lyra, my daughter, and then my collection was Lyra Love Star.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. And I went on to like kill it. I did
Now you're in the fine
HSN.
jewelry.
No, not yet. Because it was a recession when I launched.
Yes.
Nobody was buying luxury.
Yes.
So I was doing costume, fashion jewelry. But I started selling in like 5 countries. I had over 30 accounts. I had a whole sales team. I had a whole marketing team. And I did HSN.
Yes.
That was like, I had my own show on HSN.
Yeah.
I manifested that. I
Yeah.
kept saying, I want to be on HSN.
Yeah.
And I manifested HSN back then.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where the costume jewelry, I was like, this is not why I came into jewelry. Like, I want to work with, precious stones and materials. Like,
Yes.
I want to work with luxury. Like, that's the background I came from. So I went back to NYU. I took courses. I took some GIA courses. I studied under my mentor for 2 years, learning about gemstones, diamonds, everything, just learning the fine jewelry business. And it took a minute for my business to transition because my costume fashion jewelry clients were spending $100.
Right.
Now you're spending $10,000.
Right.
So those were 2 different customers.
2 different worlds. Literally 2 different worlds. Yeah.
And so a lot of those customers I no longer had because they're not spending $10,000. And so I had to rebuild my customer base. And the customers that did come, I had to make them feel like they could trust me with now in this fine jewelry world,
Yes.
which is a totally different world.
Yes.
They don't even go.
Yes. I want to rewind a bit. How did you shift mentally from a fashion stylist into this jewelry world?
I'm not going to lie, it was hard.
Yeah.
Because as a stylist, I had everybody doing everything for me. So I had an agent that would book me. I had an accountant, finance person that was doing all my books and receipts and job. I had 5 assistants. I had a personal assistant. I had all these things. So now I'm going and I'm building my own brand and I'm building this business. And I was like, I don't know how to do any of this shit.
Because it's an entrepreneur. It's on your own, really. You start something.
But I had money and I had resources. So what I did was I pulled people who did it already. And I said, help me set up here. Show me the way. How do I find manufacturers? How do I find this? How do I find that?
I love that you did that. Are y'all listening to this? Ask for help.
Yes. Yes.
Ask for help, ladies.
And then I
gentlemen.
learned every single role of my business. I did it myself. So after she came and taught me what needed to be done, I then took over her role and actually did it myself, because I knew once I hired team, I wanted to be able to convey to them what needed to be done.
Right.
And if you don't know your business, or you don't know how to do all this stuff in your business, how can you convey it to someone else?
You're not.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to watch over your team.
Yeah.
And
you need
know
to be,
what is going on in your business.
or even like my manufacturers were overseas. So even communication with manufacturers, that's a whole jargon and that's a whole nother world.
Yes, it is.
So I couldn't be dependent on somebody else to communicate my designs and what I wanted. I needed to talk to these people.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you for doing that.
Thank you.
And I think people need to understand that when you are shifting from career to another career, it's really like learning how to walk again.
It is. And that's why I say always, even if you're shifting, even if you're leaving one job, a 9 to 5 or whatever it is, really try to stack and save before you leave. The FU fund, right? Because then you don't go into desperation.
Right.
Then you're not like, you don't make decisions based on lack.
Yes.
And so I was empowered enough to be able to pull somebody on
Right.
and say, hey, can you help me with this part of my business?
Yes.
And I had the resources to do so.
Right.
I had the resources to invest in I didn't need any investors at first. I put all my own money into my business.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, but that took me having a cushion, a fund, an emergency fund, a savings, making great investments. And so that, I know I'm very privileged in that sense, but I do, if anybody is trying to decide if they should leave one thing from another, I'm a big risk taker. So
no risk, no reward. And
right.
I believe that.
So I'm a huge risk taker, very huge. Like, I'm very fearless. I will jump off any cliff head first.
Me too. I'm jumping with you.
Yes,
I do. It's true. I always say no risk, no reward.
Yeah. I find that when you do take the risk, well, for me, my experience, that the divine is always there to catch me, right? It just takes me that first initiative, that first step to be like, I'm doing this.
Yes.
And the divine always meets me. Spirit always meets me. My ancestors always show up and gift me.
Yes.
So part of it is, yes, having some sort of resources, connections. And even if you don't have money, if you have connections, resources, if you're good to people, if you treat people well. Everybody that I worked with in styling loved me because I treated everybody lovely. So when I came back and said, hey, can you put this in this magazine, or can you help me with this? They helped me.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's
you plant
such
the
a great
seeds.
takeaway. It's very simple. Be kind.
Be kind.
Be kind.
Yes.
And I think a lot of us forget this.
Right.
Be kind. We have enough going on in our lives.
And take care of the people who support you and help you and work with you. Like, I took care of my assistants. Like, I poured into anybody that worked with me on a close basis. I took care of them. And even if, like, I couldn't pay them the most, like, I'm pouring into building who they are. Showing, being expansive for them, inspiring, letting them be a part of my world, to see, like, you can do this too.
You're a gift.
Thank you.
You're a gift
to
everyone around you, which is why you were so successful and abundant.
Thank you.
I do truly believe that.
I received that.
So now you're in this jewelry world, but as I'm listening, and as I know the audience is listening, you have this spirituality that's very strong.
Yeah.
You know, this divine, and you know, this fearlessness. When did this life start inside of you? This spirituality of, I'm always taken care of, because this is a very special attribute that you have.
So it started, my mom again, She has a very unique story, and she almost died when I was 5. She was in a almost fatal car accident, and she was in a coma for 6 months. And she told me that she met God. She had a near life. She went on the other side and said she wasn't ready and came back. And when she came back, she had a rebirth. But she came back as this like born again Jesus freak. Sorry, no shade to anybody. But she was a fanatic, an extremist. Like, she gave up all of her businesses. She went back to school to she wanted to get her master's of divinity to be an evangelist or a preacher or whatever. Yes. And I was sitting there watching her transformation, and I didn't understand it. Nobody understood it, just like nobody understood when I left the music industry.
Right.
I didn't understand it, and I was like, what is she doing? She's like giving up all her businesses? So then she kind of introduced the church to us, and we started to spend a lot of time in the church. I was very resistant at a young age, but just by being there, I caught some of it,
yes.
you know?
Yes.
So that's where my religion started. But after I had my daughter, she would always tell me, pray, pray. But then after I had my daughter, I was like, yeah, I'm praying, but there has to be something else. Right? And then I would notice, like, when I would go to church, I would feel great, but when I got back to my world, I didn't have the tools. I was like, there has to be something else.
Yes.
And then I started to really, back then, where wellness and spirituality, and we have all these tools now, they didn't exist. So I was like pulling stuff off of, like, I don't even know where I was finding things, but I was intrigued by manifestation and spirituality. I knew that religion, Christianity, did not resonate with my soul, right? But I knew that, I was like, why can't I have my own connection with spirit? Like, why do I have to go through somebody else to have my relationship with spirit?
Yes.
And so I spent probably a lot of my 30s really finding myself again. It was dark. I went through like a rock bottom because I left the industry. I left the complete like luxurious lifestyle.
Yes.
I now had started my own businesses using all of my own money. I had my daughter, and I was just like, and her father, we didn't make it. And I was like, yo, what am I doing? Like, what is this? And so the personal side of it was that on the outside, I looked like I was successful and had it all together, but the inside of me was still broken because I hadn't dealt with my trauma. I hadn't dealt with my childhood. So I was literally dying inside.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like, and oh, by the way, I got a TV show. I had all these amazing, it was like, my life is just a constant, like, I'll take for instance, as I was filming this TV show,
what were you filming the TV show for?
So it was a show on Oxygen around my life as a stylist.
Oh, wow.
And the agency that me and my best friend started.
Yes.
It's called House of Glam. And it was everybody on our agency, about 4 or 5 other stylists and makeup artists and hair. And we were the original like styling show, a glimpse into like what the behind the scenes of styling.
Yes.
And we shot it for a year, but it came out on Oxygen. And when it came out, Oxygen got sold, and the changing of the guards of everybody that worked there left, and our show kind of got
swept under.
Yes.
That happens. That happens often.
So
you're doing this, and what happens?
And my
with
brother
your
gets murdered.
Wow.
He goes missing for months, and he's murdered, and my brother is murdered, but I have a TV show, or like, I'm on HSN, but I'm going through the most horrible breakup ever in life. Like I was living with someone, we blended our families, we were planning our marriage, and I get HSN, and then I'm like I'm going through a divorce. It felt like a divorce. We didn't get married yet, but we had done everything.
Yes.
And I was like,
and then your brother is murdered on top of this.
My brother is murdered. So many things. So many of my high moments always came with a low moment. It's almost that dark and light.
Yes. The duality of life.
Yes.
Yes.
So it felt like every time that I was like having these high moments, I was reminded of my past, or like these things that haunted me that I never healed.
Yes.
And so the abuse that I experienced as a child, and I can talk about it now because it's no longer who I am and it has no power over me. So when I talk about the shadow, my shadow was my sexual abuse. That was the thing that made me feel most shamed. So I couldn't speak about it because I felt dirty. But the moment I healed and I went back and I was like, okay, this happened to me, but it doesn't define me.
It's not who I am.
No. And so once I healed that moment, those moments, that's when I started to accept every part of myself.
How did you get there?
It was not easy.
How did you get to the point where you could actually sit with this sexual abuse as a woman? What made you get there? Was it a situation? Did a person guide you here?
No, it was me falling on my face and experiencing another rock bottom in my life. And I was just sick of my own shit. I got to the point where I was like, I'm sick of my shit. Like, I was no longer like, oh, he did this and that person did that. I was like, I'm sick of this shit. I was like,
it's me.
I was like,
this is my life.
I'm done playing victim. I'm done acting like everybody owes me because they did this to me, or I'm mad, or I have this underlying like rage because I hadn't dealt with the anger that was bubbling inside of me.
Yes.
Of being abused and feeling powerless.
Yes.
But it wasn't until I moved to LA I had my son. And that's when I finally looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, we're not doing this anymore. Shit has got to change right now.
Wow.
Because what I was doing was I was attracting my abuser. Every single relationship was a representative of my unhealed trauma.
I can relate to this.
It was a mirror of like my darkest, deepest. And even though I had on the outside, it looks like I'm successful and confident and all of this, but I have this dark shadow that nobody knows about. And it consumed me to the point where I was like, fuck this. Excuse my language, but that's how I felt.
Yes.
I was like, fuck this shit.
Yes. Yo, I feel that. I know. And we curse on here, so you're fine.
Yeah. So I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so my son, again, I had another rebirth.
I love that your children were such pivotal moments for you in your life. I feel like this is a commonality in women. It's a gift. We are the creators. And these gifts really change our lives if we're open to receiving.
Right. We can create miracles.
Yes. Oh, we do create miracles.
Yes, our wombs are gold.
Yes.
Like, I think society or just this world has forgotten, or I've remembered my power, but I just want to say, like, the divine feminine she is the first. Wow. She has created everything. Not the man. The woman, the womb, the gold has created every man here.
Literally.
So you're going to respect that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, 100%.
And so when I have birth, careers, projects, products, children.
Yes.
When I had my son, it was like, okay, I didn't get, with Lyra, I was like, I didn't know who I was going through it. But with Zen, I took time. I let my pregnancy, I just loved on myself. I was like, you know what? I'm going to create this beautiful, sacred portal for us. And my pregnancy was so beautiful. And I was supported and loved. And you know, I ended up moving to LA. And LA did not pan out like I thought it was going to pan out.
Why? What did you think it was going to
I
come out
had
like?
this vision, like, you know, both of my children's fathers lived here, and I was coming to be with one of them, and I left everything. I left my team, I left my nanny, my home, my business partner, my tribe, came here, and it just didn't, it was my rock bottom.
Another.
It was another.
Yes.
And that was my wake up.
Yes.
When I say that was my wake up, I'm tired of this shit, that's when I was like, you know what?
This is a new life.
Yeah, I can't, there has to be better. There has to be better.
You knew there was better.
I knew that, but I was like, why do I keep attracting the same person?
Because that's what we're familiar with.
Yeah.
That's all we knew at that time of our lives. Because we didn't do the work.
Right.
A lot of us haven't done the work.
We haven't.
And a lot of us end up with very familiar relationships. Although
you think because it's familiar that it's good, but it's not. that was the wake up call.
Yes.
The familiarity that I thought that I was experiencing with this person.
Yes.
Was just trauma.
Yes.
It was like a karmic bond.
Yes. I've been there. I totally understand.
Yeah. And so
now you're in LA.
I'm in LA, and I thought that I was coming to LA to like be a mom, family, chill.
Yeah.
But then I had to put my big girl panties on, and I was like, okay, I have to like figure this shit out.
Yeah.
And so, again, like Jen was 4 months old.
Wow.
Left my business, left everything, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna build. So my daughter at the time, she's in private school, and I started to build relationships with the moms at her school.
Yes.
And that became my first jewelry clients. And without any marketing, I wasn't even on social media. Like I was posting baby pictures.
Yeah.
My business tripled within 6 months.
Wow.
Of me being here.
Wow.
And I was on fire. And I was like, oh, I started to understand LA. I was like, oh, you can pretty much do anything here and make money. Like my abundance always comes to me. It's only when I'm vibrating low, usually because I'm in the wrong
environment
or with the wrong person.
Yes.
That's when my abundance gets fucked with.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yeah, 100%.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yes.
So
who you're surrounding yourself with,
right.
what's surrounding you.
Right.
Yes, it affects us.
Yeah. And I'm understanding too how powerful our womb is. And I don't know if anyone has experienced, I don't know if you've experienced this, but you can totally, just by being intimate with somebody, transfer your abundance to them. You can blow somebody up. Do you notice how sometimes you're with a person and because you're your energy, the gold, I'm telling you, you can transfer that energy to a man. And we're not even like, hello.
That's what we do as women.
Hello.
We do that.
Hello.
I've done that in my lifetime.
Give me my motherfucking credit. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. And we do it freely.
Yes.
We do it happily. We
Yes.
give.
Yes.
Especially when we're in love.
Yeah.
Endlessly, abundantly, and we grow. Whatever's around us grows. Yes.
Yeah. Especially
no question.
if the foundation of you is abundant.
Yes.
If you're not operating in lack mindset, you can expand everyone around you.
Everything, everyone, every person, everything.
That's why I say my gift is a present. My presence is a present.
Amen.
Sorry.
Amen.
My presence is a present.
Yes, it's true.
So now my boundaries are like, oh, you don't get to come into this energetic field unless you are the king of Zamunda. Yes,
you
don't
protect
get to
your
sniff,
energy.
you don't get to touch, you don't get to, no, you got to come with royal energy.
Yes.
Because I know my worth.
Yes, and that's only because you did the work.
I did the work. I did a lot of fucking work.
Yes.
I was in the deep, dark shadows of my most like most embarrassing, shameful parts of myself, I faced them head on, and I was like, what you got? What you got? Like,
what modalities did you use when you were doing this? When you were at that breaking point of looking at yourself, being fed up with Crystal, when you looked in that mirror, what did you start doing?
I started to meditate, first of all. I started to bring in a daily practice. I started to go within. I noticed that the more and more time that I spent within, because everything we need is within.
Yes.
When I stopped looking for things externally, when I stopped looking for love, happiness, security, and I started giving it to myself. So now when I'm triggered, my inner child, because we still get triggered, I still get triggered when my inner child is having a moment. I ask her, what do you need? Tell me more. What's going on? And then me and my present whole self, I give her what she needs. I tell her, I'm never fucking leaving you. I got you. I'm never leaving you. You don't ever have to worry about anybody ever leaving you, because I'm always going to be here.
Did you ever name her?
Yes, her name is Odessa.
Ooh, I like that. I call it my little Laticia.
Yes.
I love that she speaks to her.
Oh, I thought you meant my higher self. No, my younger self. Yeah, she's Crystal Ball.
Yeah.
Crystal Ball. My uncle used to call me that.
Really?
Crystal Ball. Yeah.
You have to speak to her. You have to nurture her.
My higher self is Odessa. But yeah, my inner child is, I talk to her all the time, because she trips sometimes.
Yes.
She want to fight. She want to go back.
She back to her old ways.
I got to be like, hey girl, what's up with you? What's going on? You on your moon cycle?
This is natural. This is natural, because in healing, we do regress. We're humans.
Yeah,
and
we're
it's
human.
okay.
Yeah, we're having a human experience. And so I just allow myself to feel all of my feelings at all times.
Yes.
I manage them, but I allow, because, you got to feel it to heal it.
Yes.
Right? So I don't run away from anything.
Yes.
If I feel something coming up, I'm not running from it.
Right.
I'm leaning into it, because guess what? With every challenge, on the other side is a gift.
Yes.
There's a hidden gift in every challenge. And so my modalities were meditation. I just kept going within.
Yes.
And then I learned about hypnotherapy.
Yes.
Then I started reprogramming my subconscious, because a lot of our trauma is stored in our body, our energetic field, our chakra systems, our energy centers, our subconscious mind, my subconscious beliefs. I had a limiting belief that I was not worthy of a healthy relationship, because how I learned love was through manipulation, control, and abuse.
Yes.
So therefore, that's what was a reflection of my relationships.
Right.
So the moment that I changed that narrative and those beliefs, and I was like, no, I am worthy of a healthy relationship. No, that's my past. That's not even who I am.
Yes.
So I started to just reprogram, go drop down. Then I got into, I pretty much tried everything. And then we have a mutual friend. I met Krista.
Yes.
And she introduced me to Milana.
Yes.
Who is now my teacher and one of my closest friends. And we often go back and forth as teacher and student. But I did talk therapy for years. And to me, it just wasn't connecting. And I was like, I need something deeper, because they weren't giving me the tools. When you leave talk therapy, it's like, okay, you talk about your feelings, but what's
next?
I need a tool.
Yes.
Because it's going to come up again. And if you don't go to the root, the trauma is at the root. So everything you're being triggered and experiencing is just coming from the root. But if you don't heal the root, if you don't pull up the root, if you don't pull up the weed out of the root, it's going to keep coming back.
It's going to keep
That's
growing.
why you keep having the same experiences, just with different faces.
Yes. Yes.
And so once I reprogrammed my subconscious, once I started to tell myself more beautiful, once I started to show up for myself, hypnotherapy, I just did a radical, it was a radical transformation of radical self-love, radical self-reflection, radical just facing all the deepest, darkest shadows. And I was like, I'm gonna not stop until everything is out of all these weeds are gone.
Yes.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop.
No.
But
it's a journey.
It's a journey. However, the more seasoned you get on your journey, the more you know how to deal with the journey.
Yes, because you have a toolbox now.
You have a toolbox.
So when these things occur and these things happen, you go to your tools.
Yes.
The triggers do come.
They're always gonna come.
But you can pause and breathe because you have done this work.
Yes. Breath work. That's
Yes.
another one of my modalities.
Yes.
A part of my practice is breath work. Breath work is a natural DMT. It has the same property as like DMT, plant medicine. We have that within ourselves.
Yes.
We can get ourselves high with our breath work.
Literally,
We
with
can
breath
take
work.
ourselves to another dimension with our breath work.
Yes.
And once I figured that out, I was like, oh. So I started to take myself to other dimensions, to other lifetimes, and started to heal those lifetimes.
Yes.
So to go in other dimensions and get the gems and pull them back.
And now Milana is our friend that has studied this breath work.
Oh,
And she taught me breath work. I'm
Yes.
sure you've had a
Yes.
lot of sessions with her as well. She's also on the podcast in a previous episode in the earlier season of Girl We Got This. You guys
Yes.
can go listen to her story.
That's
But
my
breath
girl.
work changed my life.
Yes. Changed my life.
And it's so powerful.
Yes.
But you have to be willing and open. And as I mentioned earlier in another episode, you know, whatever modality works for me might not work for you. What works for Crystal might not work for me.
Yeah.
But
I
being
tried everything.
open to something.
Yeah, I tried everything. But I will say about energy healing and breath work, which is the modality that I facilitate, is that it's almost like 10 years of therapy in one session. Like when clients come to me, I say, are you ready to die? Because when you leave me, you're not going to be the same person. You're going to be reborn. And some people aren't ready to release the old versions of themselves.
Yes.
It's scary.
Yes.
Because when you come to me, you might get a divorce. When you come to me, you might leave your job. When you come to me, your life is going to change. And some people are scared of change.
A lot of us like to stay in comfort.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
So now we're here.
we're here.
Another life as a healer.
Yeah.
And your crystals. I want to talk about your
Yes.
crystals because it's so beautiful how your life intertwines with everything that you touch. So now she is a healer and she is incredible.
Thank you, guys.
It's
Thank you.
magic
Thank
what you do.
Not guys. Thank you.
And
Queen.
then on top of what you do and you heal these people, you have crystals, which is a part
I
of your
do.
jewelry collection as well. When I go and I see these crystals, I'm always blown away because they have so much healing to each crystal, and they're all charged by
Everything
her.
is charged. So what I did with my business is, with my jewelry, is I started to, once I became a healer and once I became intentional about everything, I just started to incorporate that into my business. And I was like, my jewelry was always special to me, but now I was like, I'm gonna charge every single piece of material, gold, stone that comes in my possession.
Yes.
I'm gonna co-create with my clients. When you come to me, we co-create a piece together.
Yes.
And so I ask for your intention for the piece, and then I add my love and healing energy into the piece. I mean, I charge the gold, I curate the stones. Everything is high quality. Everything is non-conflict, ethical, like recycled.
Yes.
Like I really am very, very, very intentional about my jewelry, about my materials, and I think we talked about this. You were like, why don't you ever talk about or why isn't it bigger? I think we've had that conversation
Yes.
about scaling. And you know what? I scaled the business at first. I had a bigger business, but I like the intimacy.
Yes.
I like having custom pieces. I like taking someone's grandmother's stone and repurposing it, making it more modern and beautiful.
Yes.
I like having the one-on-one.
Yes.
I like co-creating with
Yes.
my clients. I like the energy, the synergy. I love that awe.
It's so intimate and it becomes such
It
a
is.
vulnerable experience. And again, you encapsulate everything that you are in building these pieces.
And I thought about this too. I'm like, my birth name is Crystal.
Literally
What?
crystal.
What?
Literally crystal.
And that is a reflection of my gifts.
Yes.
My birth name is Crystal. And that is a reflection of my gifts. So what I do is, what does a crystal do? It pulls in all the energy. It transmutes it and gives you back that light.
Yes. Yes.
And so I was like, my name is Crystal.
Yes.
What?
Duh. I mean,
Hello.
what a gift. What a gift.
Hello.
What a gift. All I have to say is your journey's inspiring.
Thank you, Mom.
Everything you are and are becoming. You are a mother in addition to everything that you do. And, you know, I see your beautiful kids and I see their life because of your life. And it's such a gift to see as a woman who doesn't have children, who is a career woman and a driven woman like you, that is ambitious, to see other women around me doing and being everything they want to do, but taking the pauses when needed.
Oh, absolutely.
Falling back and grounding and getting back to self.
Absolutely.
And being willing to go in the darker sides of things and heal, because we want to be better for us and for our children.
Yeah. And at this point, I have nothing to prove.
Yes.
I have nothing to prove.
Yes.
I have worked so many hours and days
Yes.
and minutes and seconds.
Yes.
I'm good.
Crystal?
I want to live a life of joy and bliss and pleasure, and do the things that I love to do are just like things that I love to do. It's
Yes.
not like work.
Yes. So I want to ask you this.
Sure.
Do you think Clark Atlanta Crystal knew that she was going to be this Crystal that she is today? And what would you tell her?
Clark Atlanta Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
Clark
Your younger
Atlanta
self.
Crystal knew she was going to be something big.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know my journey was going to be so hard. I didn't know the real work was really not in the work of working.
Yes.
The real work was within me.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest work was my self-work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I probably would be like, hey, babe, newsflash. The sooner you do the work on yourself,
Yes.
the easier life will get. Yeah. So I would tell her that. I would say, hey, all of this is pretty and amazing, all of the accolades and the success, but really doesn't mean shit if you haven't done the work.
Yes.
Because now my work comes to me so effortlessly. Now abundance is just who I am.
Yes.
Like,
It's a part of you.
I don't worry about those things.
I've seen this in real terms with you.
You see
I've
me,
seen
yeah.
this in real terms where she said something. It was a situation where she was moving and she said, I'm just going to go to Costa Rica like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And I literally left you a voice note and I was like, only you.
Yeah.
And she came back and everything was exactly how she wanted it. But it's because you have this belief so beautifully and so strong in yourself and who you are and the woman that you've created today.
And my relationship with spirit.
Yes.
Because I know that I look at all the things that I've manifested. I look at all the things that I've co-created with the divine, and I'm like, why would I ever doubt now?
Yes. Because when you look back to see where we come from,
Right.
and to see where we are today,
Yes. Yes.
we thank you, God.
Thank you.
We do.
Thank you. Ancestors, angel, spirit guide.
We do.
Spirit guides, thank you, everyone. Thank you
Crystal.
to that beautiful butterfly. That's,
Yes. Honestly, I want to say thank you so much for sharing your truths, your highs and your lows, your successes, your failures, the darkest days of looking. I know that feeling. When you look at yourself and you're tired of yourself.
tired.
It's not easy, but you have this courage that I admire about you. And you keep on moving and you keep on pushing and you spread love still. And I always tell everybody this. It's easy to be a victim.
So
It's easy to spread hate. It's easy to spread hurt and pain. It's hard to live in love.
It is. It's
With
hard.
everything we go through as a human that is bound to break us, it's hard to come back and live like this powerful woman of God, of gold, of everything that you are. So I just want to say thank you for being an example
Thank
of
you.
a woman that's gone through it and is still this beautiful diamond shining brightly.
Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for reflecting me. I think the moment we met, we kind of,
Yes.
because you get it.
Yes.
You get where I've been.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's a beautiful thing about you and I. I told you this before. I see so much of me in you and you and me when we talk, and I get it. And it's so beautiful in sisterhood and womanhood,
Yeah.
where you can honor each other and be honest and vulnerable and be like, wow.
Yeah. And you know, I love, like, you know, my core values are like spirituality, deep connection.
Yes.
Like, and I feel like I could have that deep connection with you from like jump.
Yes. Yes. And the
You know?
beauty is, it doesn't matter if I see you every day.
No.
Or every other week.
No.
I can literally run into you at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
It's like I saw you yesterday.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and I thank you for that.
Yeah. I
thank
thank you. Thank you for providing this beautiful platform.
Thank you.
For us to shine.
Yes.
And I see you too.
I want you to shine forever. We're going to shine
We
forever.
are.
We all
We
will, because
all
we get to
shine.
hear
Yes.
these stories.
Yes.
Crystal, to all of our beautiful viewers, how can they reach you for healing first?
Yes.
And your jewelry, if they want to make beautiful engagement rings, by the way, fellas that are watching.
Yes.
I've seen the work that she's created on a lot of my friends.
Yes.
So please share your info and where they can reach you.
Yes. My Instagram is at Crystal Streets, Crystal Streets. S on the end of Streets, Crystal Streets Jewelry. My website is crystalstreets.com. You can email me, you can DM me. My email is info@crystalstreets.com, but that's how you email is best for me. All of my offerings are on my website.
Okay.
Not all my jewelry is on my website because it's more of custom. So you can just email me.
Yeah.
Emailing me is best.
Yes.
And yeah, I take one-to-one clients. I have a couple of retreats coming up. And yeah, my jewelry is doing the thing. So
Yes.
Yes.
This is so beautiful.
Yes.
And to all of you viewers who are ready to face yourself and who are ready to face those dark, shameful parts of you that you're scared of, I couldn't recommend her enough, because she's been there, she's done that, and she's still doing it. So I encourage you to take that step and experience this beautiful journey with the beautiful woman. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
And just so you know,
What?
girl, we
We got
this. Thank you so much for coming over, sis. I appreciate you and I love you deeply. Please remember to share this with your sisters, subscribe, and leave a comment. Girl, we got this.